At this very moment, over 20 billion kilometers from Earth, a machine built by human hands is doing the impossible. Deep into freezing silence beyond the heliosphere, where temperatures plummet toward absolute zero and cosmic radiation is relentless, a relic from a bygone era has broken the quiet. Voyager 2, a probe designed in the 1970s, officially dormant and abandoned to the dark, has transmitted a signal. No commands were sent from Earth. No systems were supposed to be active. Yet, a heartbeat flickered onto NASA screens. Steady, deliberate, and completely impossible. Encoded within that signal were coordinates pointing to an uncharted region of space, along with evidence that Voyager 2 might not be out there alone. What followed forced scientists to face an unsettling possibility. This was not a malfunction, nor a ghost signal, but the confirmation of a fear humanity has quietly held since we first gazed into the void. Voyager 2 was never meant to survive this long. Launched in 1977 as one of humanity's boldest scientific gambles, it was a fragile vessel of aluminum and circuitry sent toward the outer solar system. The mission sounded simple on paper, but was reckless in practice. Photograph the gas giants, harvest data, and vanish into interstellar space. Engineers gave it a lifespan of 5 years, perhaps 10 with luck. Yet, decades later, Voyager 2 had rewritten the textbooks. It flew past Jupiter, revealing violent atmospheric storms. It skimmed Saturn, capturing the intricate dance of its rings, and it became the only spacecraft to visit Uranus and Neptune, sending back images no one had dared to imagine. After that, it kept moving, drifting further from its origin until 2018, when it crossed the heliopause, the invisible border where the sun's influence fades and true interstellar space begins. It entered an environment so hostile that survival is an act of defiance. Out there, temperatures drop to minus 270 degrees Celsius. Cosmic rays hammer every surface, and a nuclear power source feeding Voyager fades year after year, like a candle burning down in total darkness. By 2023, the inevitable seemingly arrived. Communications grew erratic. Signals came in fragmented and incomplete, until suddenly there was nothing. Silence. Engineers spent months trying to re-establish contact, well aware that every command took over 22 hours to reach the probe, with a response taking just as long. A response that never came. The screens remained empty. Voyager 2 was declared dormant, a legend frozen in time, drifting endlessly as a cosmic time capsule carrying the golden record, humanity's message of peace to whatever might find it. NASA shifted focus, and Voyager became a closed chapter. Then, 11 years later, on a night like any other, operators at the Goldstone complex in California isolated something strange in the cosmic background noise. A faint, regular signal, too orderly to be natural. When they verified the coordinates, disbelief took over. They matched the theoretical position of Voyager 2 perfectly. Initially, it was dismissed as an instrument error or a glitch, anything but the truth. Yet every check led to the same impossible conclusion. Voyager 2 was transmitting. A spacecraft with depleted power, untouched by human instruction, silent for over a decade, had somehow woken up. Once the impossible reality was accepted, engineers analyzed the structure of the signal, expecting corrupted telemetry or the digital death rattle of an aging machine. What they found shattered those expectations. The transmission was not chaotic. It wasn't random, nor was it degraded by the brutal interstellar environment. Instead, it followed a perfectly ordered activation sequence. First, power modules came online. Then, core memory systems were accessed. Only then did the transmitter activate, step by step, in a sequence so methodical it resembled a pre-flight checklist rather than a failure. This isn't how systems break. This is how systems are deliberately rebooted. To the scientists watching the data stream, it felt less like analyzing a machine and more like watching a procedure being executed with intent, as if someone or something understood Voyager 2's internal architecture well enough to wake it from a decade-long slumber. Confusion in mission control turned to unease. There was no scenario where Voyager could initiate such a process on its own after years without contact or sufficient energy. When cryptography specialists finally decoded the transmission, the situation became even more disturbing. The file was not a diagnostic report or a status update. It was a complex binary sequence unlike anything the probe had ever been programmed to generate. It was structured, it was intentional, and most unsettling of all, it did not originate from Earth. As analysts dissected the signal, a chilling realization took hold. This transmission wasn't a message sent into the void. It was a response. Voyager 2 was not talking to itself. It was communicating with an external source in the darkness. What was once humanity's silent ambassador had become part of a dialogue, a quiet exchange between our probe and an unknown presence beyond the heliosphere. This revelation triggered a frantic hunt through decades of archived telemetry. If Voyager 2 was responding now, the question wasn't just what it was saying, but who had spoken first. The realization sent scientists racing backward through time, searching for precedents. The investigation led them to classified files from 1983, records reviewed and quietly forgotten. Inside those dusty datasets was a discovery that chilled the room. Voyager 1, separated from its twin by billions of kilometers and on a totally different trajectory, had experienced a strangely similar event 40 years earlier. There had been a sudden surge of unexplained data, a brief, noticeable deviation in trajectory that engineers at the time blamed on a sensor malfunction. The anomaly was documented, categorized as a failure, and archived. Back then, there was no reason to suspect more. But viewed through the lens of Voyager 2's awakening, that old explanation felt fragile, almost convenient. It seemed something extraordinary had been hiding in plain sight for decades. When scientists placed the two events side by side, the implications were impossible to ignore. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, separated by unimaginable distance, had both experienced unexplained interactions following eerily parallel patterns. These weren't isolated glitches, they were echoes. Two probes launched in 1977 had encountered something similar at different stages of their journey, as if an unseen presence had taken an interest in both emissaries. The theory that emerged was deeply unsettling. Whatever exists in the dark beyond the heliosphere is not reacting randomly. It is observing, waiting, and engaging selectively. The universe, once imagined as a vast, indifferent void, now appeared to be a place where attention can be drawn, tracked, and remembered. And if Voyager 1's anomaly was dismissed once, the repetition with Voyager 2 suggested humanity could no longer afford to look away. As the reality of the transmission settled in, astronomers turned their telescopes toward Voyager 2, hoping to find a cause. What they observed only deepened the mystery. There, in the darkness surrounding the probe, was an object that defied classification. It wasn't an asteroid, a comet, or debris from an ancient collision. It emitted no heat and reflected no familiar signature. Yet, it was undeniably there. Even more disturbing was its behavior. The object moved in perfect synchronization with Voyager 2, adjusting its position continuously to maintain formation. Calculations confirmed this was not passive motion. This was deliberate. Rocks drift, debris tumbles. But this object followed. It tracked the probe with precision, behaving less like a natural body and more like an escort. The assumption that Voyager 2 was alone in the vastness collapsed instantly. It may never have been alone. Hidden within the binary sequences for Voyager 2 was another revelation, a set of precise coordinates pointing to a location billions of kilometers beyond our solar system. When astronomers cross-referenced star catalogs, the result was disturbing. The coordinates matched no known star or object. At first, it seemed like an invitation, a quiet call to come and see. But the behavior of the accompanying object told a different story. This wasn't a greeting, it was a boundary. The coordinates marked a limit, an invisible line humanity was not meant to cross. The message carried an unmistakable implication. we know you are here. We are watching. And this is how far your expansion goes. Voyager 2 hadn't just sent a signal to Earth. It was used as a relay to transmit a warning. Somewhere in the cosmic shadows, an ancient intelligence chose to reveal itself, not with words, but with restraint, reminding us that while we may explore, we are not the only ones who do. We may be merely children wandering through a garden that belongs to someone else. This story must be told carefully because it is built on real events, documented anomalies, and data that never quite fit our explanations. Voyager 2 didn't just wake up after 11 years. It transmitted something it wasn't designed to create, followed an activation sequence suggesting intent, and responded rather than spoke, all while accompanied by an unknown object. When aligned with the forgotten anomaly of Voyager 1, a disturbing pattern emerges. It forces us to reconsider the idea that space is empty or indifferent. The object moving in sync with Voyager 2, the coordinates pointing to a boundary, and the implicit message challenge how we see ourselves. Perhaps the silence of the universe isn't an invitation to fill it, but a rule to be respected. If an intelligence is watching from the shadows, what does it see in humanity? Curiosity, ambition, or intrusion? The idea of a cosmic limit is both humbling and terrifying. It suggests exploration isn't forbidden, but it is noticed. Somewhere beyond 20 billion kilometers, a small probe continues its lonely journey. And perhaps, just behind it, a silent guardian watches, reminding us that when we look up at the stars, we are no longer looking alone. If you ran NASA and received this message, would you respect the boundary or challenge it in the name of discovery? Let me know in the comments. And if this story changed how you view the universe, don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep looking up, just maybe with a little more caution. I'd love to hear what you think about this, so drop a comment below. If you enjoyed our conversation today, please share this video and subscribe to help the channel grow. Every bit of support counts.